They called him the next Elon Musk. His name is Trevor Milton. He built a $34 billion empire on a single promise, a revolutionary zero-emission truck. Investors threw money at him. But there was one massive problem. His multi-billion-dollar machine didn't have an engine. To fool the world, they just pushed a hollow shell down a hill and filmed it. Welcome to the Gravity Con!
Trevor Milton didn't just sell a truck. He sold an entire ecosystem. He claimed Nikola had completely revolutionized hydrogen production. He promised a massive network of hydrogen fueling stations stretching across America. He said they were producing hydrogen at a fraction of the cost. It sounded like the holy grail of clean energy. To pump the hype even further, Trevor announced the Nikola Badger, an electric pickup truck designed to destroy Ford and Tesla. Retail investors went completely crazy. They threw their life savings at the company, desperate to get in early on the next Tesla. But just like the hydrogen stations, the Badger didn't exist. It was nothing but 3D renders and empty promises. In June 2020, Nikola went public. The stock went ballistic. At its peak, Nikola's valuation surpassed Ford Motor Company. Ford was selling millions of vehicles a year. Nikola hadn't sold a single truck. They didn't even have a finished factory. Wall Street was perfectly happy to ignore reality until the truth came rolling down the hill. The illusion was perfect until September 2020. That's when short sellers arrived. Hindenburg Research, a firm famous for exposing corporate fraud, dropped a nuclear bomb on Nikola. They released a massive report claiming Trevor Milton had built his entire empire on an ocean of lies. The report confirmed the impossible truth. That famous video of the truck cruising down the road? Hindenburg revealed that Nikola engineers had towed the truck to the top of a long hill in the Utah desert, turned the cameras on, and just let it roll down in neutral. It wasn't a hydrogen miracle. It was a soapbox derby car worth billions. Wall Street panicked. The stock crashed, wiping out billions of dollars in value instantly. Trevor Milton tried to fight back. He called Hindenburg haters and promised to prove them wrong. But the evidence was undeniable. The curtain had been pulled back, and there was no wizard, just a man pushing a broken truck down a hill. Before the Hindenburg bomb dropped, Trevor pulled off his greatest magic trick. He needed credibility, so he targeted the establishment, General Motors. In early September 2020, GM announced a massive partnership with Nikola. They agreed to engineer and build the Nikola Badger pickup truck. In exchange, GM got a $2 billion stake in Nikola without paying a single cent in cash. The media praised it as a masterstroke. GM thought they were getting access to cutting-edge electric vehicle technology. But in reality, Nikola was getting GM's manufacturing power to legitimize their vaporware. It was the ultimate corporate Trojan horse. Trevor Milton used a 112-year-old auto giant as a human shield for his fraud. But the timing was a disaster. Just 2 days after Trevor and GM popped the champagne, Hindenburg released their devastating report. General Motors was completely humiliated on the world stage. The brilliant deal turned into a toxic nightmare. GM quietly backed out, canceling the Badger project entirely. The shield was gone, and Trevor was left standing completely naked in the storm. Following the Hindenburg report, the Department of Justice and the SEC launched massive fraud investigations. Trevor's legendary Twitter account, once full of boastful promises, suddenly went dead silent. In late September 2020, under the cover of darkness, Trevor Milton suddenly resigned as executive chairman. He thought stepping down would make the target on his back disappear. But here is the most infuriating part of the Silicon Valley playbook. When retail investors lose their life savings, the founders still get rich. Trevor didn't leave empty-handed. He walked away with billions of dollars worth of Nikola stock. The company was actively collapsing, its reputation destroyed, yet its founder became one of the wealthiest men in America overnight. He used his newfound wealth to buy a $32 million ranch in Utah, the most expensive home in the state's history. He thought he had outsmarted the system, locked safely inside his fortress of cash. But the federal government doesn't care about your real estate portfolio. They were already at the gates. In October 2022, the visionary who promised to save the planet found himself in a federal courtroom. The prosecution didn't hold back. They dismantled his entire mythology piece by piece. They proved that it wasn't just the truck that was a lie. The supposedly revolutionary solar panels? Fake. The cheap hydrogen production? Never existed. The jury saw exactly how he weaponized podcasts, interviews, and Twitter to pump his stock. He sat there, stripped of his billionaire aura, exposed not as a genius engineer, but as a cornered, desperate salesman. Trevor's defense team tried to argue that he was just overly optimistic, that he was a dreamer who just got ahead of himself. But the jury didn't buy the fake-it-till-you-make-it defense. It took them just a few hours to find him guilty on 3 counts of criminal fraud. And finally, in December 2023, the hammer dropped. A federal judge sentenced the man they called the next Elon Musk to 4 years in a federal penitentiary. The mansions, the private jets, the endless media hype, it all evaporated into a cold, concrete reality. The Gravity Con leaves us with a chilling realization about modern finance. Trevor Milton didn't build a $34 billion company out of metal and code. He built a mirror. And in that mirror, Wall Street, the media, and desperate retail investors saw exactly what they wanted to see: easy money and a green revolution. They wanted to believe the fairy tale so badly that they forgot to ask if the truck actually had an engine. The system thrives on hype. It rewards the loudest voice in the room. But eventually, the hill runs out, and gravity always wins. If you survive this issue of corporate deception, hit the subscribe button and join the ledger. Next time, we cross the Atlantic to dissect a $2 billion financial empire that simply vanished into thin air. We are tracking a fugitive executive, international spies, and the biggest missing bag of cash in European history. Until then, keep your assets hidden and trust no one.